Totally right.
Brittany, do you want to give the invocation? Brittany, you want to give the invocation? All right. We now call the city council regular meeting to order for August 28th, 6 p.m. Please rise to the invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation will be given by Councilwoman Brittany McGuire.
Dear Lord, we thank you once again for this evening, for the opportunity to come together tonight to make these important decisions. Lord, I'm asking you to give us clarity, give us unity as we go forth with what we need to decide this evening. Protect us all in the storm, the whole state of Florida. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember McGuire.
Here.
Councilmember McCure.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Bernard.
Here.
Mayor Anderson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, first thing is going to be the consent agenda. Item number 5, we have the minutes from August 14th. Be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve C5 to the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any changes? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire.
Yes.
Councilmember McCure.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 6, this will be resolution number 2023-15. The adoption of a grant agreement with Florida Department of Transportation. Mark, any comments before we get going?
Yeah, it says on the fencing project, but that isn't, I probably put that in there wrong. This is the one that FAM worked on for its $3 million grant. It's referenced to State Route 64, having more access into the airport. It's for $3 million.
Okay. We're going to scroll down to it.
And your page 45 shows the diagram of what it includes.
It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Avon Park, Florida, providing for adoption of the grant agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation, providing an effective date.
Okay. Any questions on this grant?
Nope.
Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve resolution number 2023-15.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
And for the mayor to sign the agreement.
Was that part of your motion?
Yes, it is.
All right, do we have a second to that effect?
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Questions? Seeing none, we will call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire.
Yes.
Councilmember McCure.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes,
Motion passes.
there will be a lot of happy people that the fence is redone.
Yes, they will.
Okay. All right, that brings us to item number 7. Inform the council on the appropriations they are seeking for projects at the airport. Mr. JT Clark of FAM, you are up, sir.
This just got serious.
Uh-oh, the high table.
You put me in a dais. Yeah. All right, good afternoon, council, or evening. Thank you for having us today. Thank you for the road appropriations. It'll help us get building permits for many other businesses to move in. I just wanted to, I don't need a vote or really much help on this matter. But we will be applying for appropriations again next year in the amounts of $3 to $5 million, as well as submitting a new bill that we hope to pass into law that would make Avon Park a case study. This case study would allow us to essentially complete our master plan in a 5-year window and have the state reimburse us over a 5 to 10 year period with many other economic development incentives. It's quite a laundry list of them. So we do have what we believe this airport, and then to pick 2 other airports in the state to participate in this case study. I don't believe that we're going to need a lot from you guys, but it will be a high profile side mission, if you will. So it's likely that several elected officials or state agency leaders would want to reach out to y'all. And I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that.
Any questions on that? Jerry, do you see anything that we need to be aware of? Any other thing that was just mentioned?
No, it's mostly just grant administration issues, then in the future. I think sounds good.
With that, thank you very much. Glad to hear it. Sounds like things are happening out there.
Yep.
Any updates on any of the other things going on at the airport?
We're currently on standby with DEM right now, as we always are, but they do have discussed bringing 400 trailers down, probably light travel trailers. So they will park them long-term in the Sandy area. So they've talked about a 6 month to a year. We have a steel manufacturing company that is trying to get a long-term lease there. 2 flight schools that are trying to get their leases out there, one international, which will provide a significant boon to the college with an additional 100 students for them as English as a second language. And I think they're going to provide AA degrees for them as well.
I believe as part of that, there was the hotel as well, right?
Yeah, the hotel, Marriott Residence wants to see DEM's contract first, before they will make a move on that. But the Department of Health is supposed to issue the IT in November. And so we have this site and working on 2 other sites to secure. So we'll actually be in charge of all 3 sites statewide for them. That will provide $40 to $50 million in construction dollars for this airport. Furthermore, it'll likely be anywhere from 3 to 6 million a year in ongoing jobs.
Okay. Very good. Anything else you'd like to share?
I'd like to say that this requires an immense amount of effort. I mean, the DEM contract has got to go to this House Speaker, Senate President, and the Governor's office for approval. These require a lot of public relations, lobbying dollars to ensure that we are awarded these type of agreements. I know Charlie and I spent a significant amount of time in Tallahassee last year. And Charlie even spoke in front of committee, the Infrastructure and Tourism Committee, to even get the 3 million that we have here today. So it does, it's quite costly for us to do these types of things, but they're worthwhile and meaningful. So we would, like to see if we can not get help with some of these initiatives if we, sustain the process.
Yeah, so that came up during our budget time, budget meeting that we were having. It was presented by Mr. Bernard, that you guys would like more funding. And we were discussing it. We ultimately decided to have staff reach out to you guys and ask for a number of things, talking about staffing level out there and stuff like that. So it sounds like there was merit there, and that's a discussion that you guys are wanting to have, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, we have 4 people out there, at least 40 hours a week, not to mention our federal folks, our state folks that are not on site, or our project planning folks, or our engineers that are not on site. So on any given day, you'll have, or at least 2 meetings, 12 to 20 people a week working on this airport.
Yeah. So the main question that I had brought up to Jim, which obviously wouldn't be able to answer because it's not you guys, but basically, what staffing level the city would want out there if there was no AIPP program, and so we obviously hope that everything works out with it, and that is, the full intention that everything's, it's already been applied for and all that. But in a world that where you guys did not exist, what type of level would we want out there? And I guess one of the questions that would then arise to you guys is, if it doesn't work out with AIPP, if the FAA for whatever reason says no, is this a place that you guys are going to be seeking to continue to run, or?
No, we would not. And we wouldn't be able to really manage another year at $10,000 a month. We took that under the precipice that we didn't know that even y'all had a real idea of how much your revenues were out there monthly, right? And so we, as a partner, essentially take that on the chin that, all right, we'll take this on at $10,000 a month, expecting that we would close, in a reasonable timeframe.
Which we all hope for, by the way.
Which we all hope for, yeah. But I mean, 10,000 a month was not sustainable. I mean, we really have redundant insurance out there. Our insurance costs are out there are $7,800 a month. So essentially, we have a budget of $2,200 to push these programs through. Get these funding dollars, and $2,200 a month is not it's not a minimum wage or a livable wage.
Well, clearly we have far more skills out there than we would ever have if there was no AIPP program, right? So I mean, there's no way that the airport could fund a team like that if there wasn't a hope of something bigger there, right?
That's correct.
So,
And that's why we're not really asking for what everybody's rack rate or value is.
right,
We're of the opinion that 25,000 a month would be a fair shake. We've already increased the revenues out there to date by raising the rents and getting the T hanger sets full. So that's new revenue that the city would likely have not seen otherwise if they would have just stayed on the same path that y'all have always been on.
Yeah.
And that revenue, I mean, we still have not even enacted the rent increase for everybody, which is beginning to, in essence, get unfair to the new tenants.
Yeah.
Or been able to sign the 3 or 4 businesses up that have been waiting on standby for at least 9 months or January to produce new revenue that is willing and ready to pay out there. So
we're not able to issue new rents out there or new leases out there?
The ones he's talking about are the ones that the attorney was working on,
Okay,
the leases.
so we're waiting for the attorney to give us some type of classification in order to do the leases. is what you're
It's
saying.
actually leases, yes. When they're done and they're filled out, they'll come to you.
I got you. Any idea when that realistically will happen?
I would say pretty soon. Jerry said he looked at them, gave them back to Monica, right?
yes, sir.
His microphone's not on.
Hey, Jim, I think your microphone's off there. There you
You're
go.
absolutely right. I apologize. JT, could you tell us exactly how many people work at the airport? How many hours and days do they work? And then basically, how many people get paid that work at the airport? Does anybody get paid that doesn't work at the airport? And what's the responsibilities? Can you give us just a quick rundown? How many days, how many hours?
Sure.
Who gets paid? And if anybody besides that work out there, does anybody out there get paid?
Well, keep in mind, we're an owner operated firm first off, but out of the 10,000 revenue that is paying for our services, you have myself that pretty much works all on governmental affairs or how do I bring dollars back to the district or the airport. You have Michael Powell, obviously has been CEO of 3 airports for the last 21 years, a spaceport license operator. You got Charlie Brown and Adam Lewis here, who actually works 24/7 out there. So we do have jets that come in at 1 a.m. that are med flights or angel flights that do require fuel. We haven't been compensated for any of that since we've been out here. Not even any of the gallons pumped out of the fuel truck, which I think was an oversight when we did the management agreement. But Kevin Kelsey out there, I mean, he got paid 50 cents a gallon, I believe it was, for every fuel pumped. I mean, we pumped over, I'm not even sure how many, 10,000 or more gallons. But we haven't been shored up on that either. So Charlie really takes on new clients and overall maintenance and operations of the airport. Adam is his support for groundskeeping. And really just to put it in perspective, those 4 Lake Wells had an RFP out for just mowing, and they pay 10,000 a month for their mowing services alone. Now, granted, different airport, different circumstances, but as far as the mowing is concerned, they don't even have half the acreage that Avon Park is required to keep mowed monthly. So, but we have Chief of Planning, Santiago Fernandez, who still currently works for the 45th Space Wing and NASA and Sanford Airport.
Does he get paid?
Yeah, for those, oh yeah, he gets paid for those, but he does that independently on his own. No, he does not get paid from FAM.
Okay.
That's from his own company, Third Voyage.
And how many days does Michael work normally?
He's on site 3 days every single week. Has not missed a week, but he works every day. I mean, we have meetings Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekend, depending on what the case is, like DEM. I mean, we're on call 24/7. Even when there's not a storm at our door, I mean, sometimes they have issues that arise that we will have to tend to. Outside of that, we have several of the board members on the call here who advocate, not just in DC, but on a state level, for the betterment of this facility. And I would say that they at least put in 10 hours a week on this project, and that's at least a dozen of them. So, and this has been consistent even before we signed the management contract. Knowing that really the only way FAM has a way to make money is not off revenues here. It is about the new business that we attract or the amount of capital improvement project dollars that we can bring into the airport.
How many employees actually live in Avon Park?
Three. I mean, Jeff is out there. Jeff's probably done $100,000 worth of work of tree clearing out there in the last year to get our RPZs that FAM has paid for. And then Zach has been more so on the biotech side. But Zach Farr is an Avon Park born and raised, and big thank you to all of his efforts on trying to get that initiative online.
So it sounds like you're wanting to make a increase in funding request, right?
Yeah, the monthly management fee, the revenues, yep.
So what I would suggest is obviously everything has to be done in the proper channels. So the first that anybody else has heard about this, other than probably Jim, was tonight. So I would strongly suggest that there was a few facts that the council was requesting from staff to get from you guys. So I'm sure they can pass that along to you right now. And then if you guys could, put together your case as to why you need more funding, where the funding is going, how Avon Park is benefiting, the whole bit, then come back to our next meeting and make the request.
Okay,
Because we do have an operating agreement with you, right?
yes,
So we have a contract, so that contract has to be adjusted. We can't just arbitrarily say, here's 25 grand a month.
Yeah.
So sounds like you know what you want. Make
Yeah.
your request.
Okay.
Any other questions for FAM or anything? Okay,
I
Anything
have a
else?
Question for JT.
yes,
I
ma'am.
heard you say Charlie Brown go with you with meetings?
Oh, yeah, Charlie, we take him to Tallahassee quite often. Charlie, why don't you speak up about what?
Yes, I've got a lot of lobbying experience just from being a previous FFA officer and also as a member of Boys Nation, and I have quite a few connections up in Tallahassee. So it has really served us very well. As a matter of fact, the head of the Office of Management and Budget, Brian Mims, is actually one of my Boys State counselors that I know very well. And that relationship, I believe, helps us along the way.
And I have a question for you too, Charlie. Have you taken any classes on airport management at all?
Yes, I'm fully certified in but both myself and Adam and JT with the NATA training. So I'm a certified line serviceman. I can do anything from fueling to lavatory services and everything to do on the airport.
Thank you.
Great question, Jim. I'll say that NATA is the National Aviation Transportation Authority. So they're essentially the continued education curriculum that is recognized by the FAA or FDOT departments, and we go through annual training. The guys have probably been through 1,000-hour courses at this point to address anything on or around an airfield. And that's just a standard that we try to keep. It's not required at this GA airport, but that's the level of service that we're trying to provide, and also the level of service that these funding agencies are going to want to see if they're going to continue to fund these types of initiatives.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Seeing none. JT, thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. Any updates, city manager?
Yeah, if you, the first one you have a local state of emergency resolution in front of you. Jerry called me this morning with a pretty good idea. In case this hurricane out there decides to do a Charlie and turns towards us, we wouldn't have time to actually do a local state of emergency. Actually, when I was on emergency management, 2 o'clock meeting, the Board of County Commissioners doing it tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And it's a just in case.
So we prepared this resolution 23-16 for you. It's a resolution of City Council of the City of Avon Park, Florida City, declaring 7 days of local state emergency and authorizing the city manager to lead cooperation with Highlands County officials in debris removal and to extend this resolution in 7-day increments pursuant to section 252.383A Florida statutes as necessary, authorizing and directing the city manager to take whatever prudent actions which may be necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city and customers of the city's utility systems pursuant to the declaration, ratifying and affirming such actions taken by the city manager prior to this declaration and providing an effective date.
Okay. Any questions on the resolution?
None.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
We had one of these last year, right? And did it
Yeah.
expire or was it something different?
Yeah, it expired.
Oh, and how long do these usually? 30
Seven,
days?
they're good for 7 days
Okay,
unless the,
this one was good for 7, but we extended the last one, right?
well, the city manager extended it periodically and that one was extended quite a bit. We may not have to extend this one at all,
Okay.
depending on how you all get hit, if at all.
I was just curious.
Yeah, but they can keep going in 7-day increments until, it's done.
When the power comes back on and the flooding's gone, generally it ends.
Then we have to have them be able to pick up all the debris.
Right.
Yep, we have a contract for that.
Well, the
Okay.
one with the COVID, that lasted about a year, kept going and going, so.
That's right. It did, yeah. Okay, any other questions on the resolution? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number,
The emergency resolution.
the emergency resolution.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
yes,
Mayor Anderson,
Yes,
motion passes.
go ahead.
Next, kind of a sore subject, but the FAA or the AIP application, we haven't heard anything more. It never was stalled by our experts nor the city. It has been the FAA the whole time. But yeah, we're still waiting to hear from them.
Okay. And there is no guarantee that they have to respond by a certain date, right?
No.
Okay.
No, and believe me, Jerry and I want it done worse than any of you sitting there, I'm sure. So.
Okay.
Last one, we put in for a scope, grant, small, county outreach for one of our, $85,000 to repair one of our roads. It's, Gwen Hill Street from South Lake Avenue, South Delaney. There was 109 applications and out of that, we got one. So only 9 people out of the 109. It's for $85,521 for FY 24-25.
Okay.
So you can't say Evan Park never gets anything. We just got 9 out of 100, no, 9 of them.
Great.
Speaking of roads, I have a question. There's 2 rather big potholes right at the end of Lake Avenue that hit 17.
Right.
I don't know if this can be filled or,
Yeah, we'll get a hold of county. That's the counties, but the last time we did fill them, but I'll get with
no, it's a
David
different
Roberts.
one.
Oh, it's a different hole?
It's 2 different holes.
In the center or on the shoulder?
It's more in the center. One's on the center and one's just a few inches away from it.
Anything else from the city manager?
Nope.
I just wanted to reference the FWC grants that I mentioned. Casey Wall had turned me on to those grants that were going to be available coming up next year. They basically apply to anything that the FWC would apply for. So our lakes, streams, anything like that. Of that, city definitely has 2 lakes, which would be Lake Tulane and Lake Verona. That would more than qualify. But obviously, we'll take a look at all the lakes. The idea would be to get some docks and or boat ramp improvements into those lakes to make it easier and more enjoyable for the recreational fishermen or anyone wishing to use the lakes. So wanted to update everybody on that. We can get up to anything under $200,000 and under would qualify to get the highest amount in the ranking. Other than that, given our rural status and a few other facts about Avon Park, we probably would do very well in their ranking system. So hopefully we'll get at least one, if not all. So
What were the stipulations for qualification on these?
there's a whole bunch of them that I can't remember, but I can be more than happy to send you guys a link.
Okay. No, don't send us the link because I won't open it.
No, that's true. I'll send the city manager the link.
Who's gonna?
All right. Anything else?
Did anybody get the email about the breaking of ground of museum? The baseball museum next year?
No.
Yeah. If I'm right, it's the summer of next year.
They got the grant?
Yeah, you got information on it?
When I talked to Doc last week, no, he did not get the grant, and they said the governor wasn't wanting to give grants for museums, so. Doesn't mean they won't get it, but he told me last week they hadn't got it yet.
they reached the donation, the private
Right.
donation, and I'm not sure why I'm the only one got the email. And it
I
said
got
that,
the email, but I didn't read that it was a
yeah, it
definite
said they
thing yet.
reached the donation, the limit, whatever they was trying to reach. I can't tell you what the amount. And that, I thought they said it was, congratulations, they was breaking grounds the summer of next year.
Okay.
I remember that they collected what they thought was their fair share.
Mhm.
I didn't hear anything about.
Yeah, they got the private match.
Right,
But from what I had heard, they had not got the actual grant.
Yeah.
right. They were still working on
Yeah.
that.
So
It says it's not going before the legislature until spring of next year, and if all goes well, we would look at breaking ground next summer.
Yeah.
They estimate they still need another 130,000 in community support.
Not there yet.
I did read that.
They're only at second base according to their sign.
Anything else for the good of the city?
No.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Seeing no